Japan is challenging the pacifist limits set after the Second World War. Once restricted from a proper military and dependent on allies for defense, this nation is breaking from its past. In a bold move that no other country saw coming, Japan has teamed up with Italy and Great Britain to develop a powerful sixth-generation fighter jet through the Global Combat Air Program. This high-tech aircraft marks a significant step toward Japan's ambition to design and produce combat jets. Could this be the start of Japan's military resurgence? What are the capabilities of this new generation fighter? Join us as we reveal the intriguing details of Japan's new sixth-generation fighter jet with capabilities that would change the battlefield forever. Before Japan shocked the world with the announcement of a new sixth-generation fighter jet, the nation had been quietly working on its military comeback. For decades, Japan followed a pacifist path after the Second World War, avoiding offensive military power to respect its post-war constitution and avoid angering its neighbors. However, rising tensions with China and concerns about North Korea's missiles led Japan to rethink its stance. Making a strategic decision, Japan's government recently approved new policies allowing it to strike other nations if threatened. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida argued that as missile technology advances globally, Japan needs a stronger defense to deter potential attacks. The decision followed pressure from the United States, which has urged Japan to take on a larger defense role to counter China's growing military power. The new policy will boost Japan's defense spending to 2% of its GDP by 2027, doubling its previous limit. This increase would help Japan buy advanced weapons from the United States, like Tomahawk missiles, and develop its advanced fighter jets, hypersonic missiles, and armed drones. However, the policy claims that Japan's defense will remain strictly protective, avoiding preemptive strikes or threats to other countries. China, unsurprisingly, criticized Japan's move, accusing it of exaggerating the China threat to justify its military buildup. Despite the criticism, Japan is determined to strengthen its defenses, aiming to become more self-reliant in securing its territory. Now, with its sixth-generation fighter jet being developed with Italy and Great Britain, the world is eager to witness the technological capabilities this fighter jet can deliver. Many countries are also working on their sixth-generation fighter jets, but they all share some basic features. These advanced jets will be developed using digital engineering and artificial intelligence to help pilots make decisions quickly in battle. They will also have powerful communication systems that can transfer large amounts of data between aircraft, the option to fly without a pilot, and better human system integration, like virtual cockpits shown on helmet displays instead of traditional panels. Additionally, these fighters will carry hypersonic and energy weapons and have advanced stealth abilities to avoid detection from infrared tracking systems. Japan has long considered building its fighter jet, but it relied on licensed projects from other countries for years. For example, the Mitsubishi F-2, introduced in the 1990s, is a modified version of the American F-16 Fighting Falcon. Before that, there was the Mitsubishi F-1, a light attack aircraft from the 1970s, which is often compared to the British-French Seppicat Jaguar. By 2010, Japan's Ministry of Defense realized the need for a new fighter to replace the aging Mitsubishi F-2 fleet. The need became more urgent as China rapidly advanced its air force. Russian aircrafts often violated Japan's airspace, and North Korea's missile threats increased. In response, Japan developed the concept of the I-3 fighter, standing for informed, intelligent, and instantaneous. This jet would be a counter-stealth fighter with a combat information system that includes a high-power radar, advanced sensors, and tactical communication with external sensor nodes and UAVs. These features aim to give Japan an edge in regional air superiority. The I-3 fighter was designed to have strong stealth capabilities, advanced sensors, and networked fire control, allowing it to share data and target information with other aircraft. It could also carry futuristic weapons, like combat lasers, known as light-speed weapons, to shoot down threats instantly. By 2018, Japan's IHI Corporation created a prototype of the IHI XF-91 engine, a key part of the jet's development. However, in 2020, the Ministry of Defense officially shifted from the I-3 fighter to the FX program, with Mitsubishi Heavy Industries leading the project. Another reason Japan pushed to create its own advanced fighter is that it could not buy the F-22 Raptor from the United States. The Obi Amendment prevented the sale of the F-22 to any foreign country, making it impossible for Japan to acquire the world's top air superiority fighter. Now let's get into the details of this new air fighter that has piqued the curiosity of several nations across the globe. The Mitsubishi FX is truly exceptional. It was nicknamed Godzilla by an Aviation Week writer due to its large size, even bigger than the F-22 Raptor. Unlike older jets that used hydraulic systems, the FX uses electric drives. This decision wasn't just for innovation. The aircraft's complex design needed space for air intakes, internal weapons compartments, and other tech. Using electric drives made the jet lighter, more agile, and easier to design. To reduce weight further, Mitsubishi engineers replaced traditional fasteners with adhesive molding, literally gluing parts together. They also used lightweight materials like aluminum alloys and carbon fiber reinforced polymers. These choices not only made the jet lighter, but also helped with its stealth capabilities. The jet has a serpentine air duct and an internal weapons bay to minimize its radar cross-section. To make it even harder to detect, they added electromagnetic wave absorbers to the air ducts and engines. A standout feature of the FX is its radar system, designed to detect other stealth aircraft. It uses an active electronically scanned array radar, similar to the one on the F-35 Lightning II. There are also passive sensors and infrared cameras, making it capable of tracking enemy aircraft without giving away its position. To prevent the aircraft from overheating due to all this technology, Mitsubishi installed a special cooling system that uses a mix of vapor compression and liquid cooling. Powering the FX is the powerful XF9 engine developed by IHI Corporation. It's designed to be thin, with an inlet 30% smaller than the engine on the Mitsubishi F2, yet it generates a massive 360 kilowatts of power through two of these engines. The engines also have 3D nozzles that can deflect thrust by 20 degrees, giving the aircraft high maneuverability and agility. When it comes to weapons, the FX is set to carry the ASM-3 supersonic anti-ship missile, also developed by Mitsubishi. There are plans for two versions, the ASM-3A with extended range and the ASM-3 Kai, though details about the latter are still unknown. These advanced weapons are expected to replace the Mitsubishi F2, set to be retired in the 2030s. But how does the Global Combat Air Program fit into this? In 2022, there were rumors that Japan and the UK were planning to combine the FX with the UK's Tempest fighter program. This was confirmed in December 2022, solidifying a partnership that also includes Italy. Interestingly, the UK initially tried to team up with France and Germany through the Future Combat Air System. However, disagreements and conflicts pushed the UK to work with Japan and Italy instead. This partnership is valuable for Japan because, despite its high-tech capabilities, the country has limited experience in exporting military aircraft. The UK, meanwhile, gains a reliable, advanced partner without the internal conflicts that disrupted its earlier plans. Working together, these countries aim to create a cutting-edge, sixth-generation stealth fighter that could redefine air combat technology. Key roles are divided among major companies. Japan's Mitsubishi Heavy Industries and the UK's BAE Systems are the main contractors. BAE also works on the airframe, while Japan's IHI Corporation and Rolls-Royce focus on the engine. Italy's Leonardo handles electronics, and MBDA UK is in charge of missile development. After Japan and Britain agreed to build this fighter, they began working on sensor systems under a project named Jaguar or Japan and Great Britain Universal Advanced Radar Frequency System. The new fighter is expected to be about 30% larger than the Eurofighter Typhoon, and its empty weight is similar to the American F-15 Eagle. The Delta wing has a steep 50-degree sweep, stretching about 54 feet with a total wing area of 12,200 square feet, almost as large as the Airbus A320's wing. A model of this aircraft was first shown at the Farnborough Air Show in 2024. The design has a trimmed Delta wing, giving it greater speed, range, and the ability to carry more weapons and fuel. However, its maneuverability might not match that of Japan's original Mitsubishi FX concept. British aviation journalist Gareth Jennings compared the G-Scap's large wingspan to the retired American F-111 Aardvark bomber. The F-111 relied on low-altitude flying to avoid radar, while the G-Scap jet aimed to use stealth and long-range missiles for defense. This approach resembles the proposed FB-22, a long-range bomber variant of the F-22 Raptor that never entered production. Unlike the FB-22, which was designed as a companion to the F-22, the GCAP aims to balance air-to-air combat and ground attacks. All three partner nations currently use the F-35B stealth fighters, except the UK, which also operates the ground-based F-35A. Yet they still needed a more versatile jet that could carry more weapons than the F-35 and could be exported without the strict restrictions faced by the American F-22 Raptor. Interestingly, Japan is planning to use its own advanced missile systems on its new sixth-generation fighter jet. Some of these missiles include the MBDA Meteor, the Spear-3, and the ASM-3, a Japanese anti-ship missile. They are also developing a new medium-range air-to-air missile known as the Joint New Air-to-Air Missile in collaboration with Britain. Rumors say this missile will have a Japanese-designed radar system in the front and a British-built Meteor ramjet engine in the back. However, it might not be as fast as the Meteor, which can reach speeds above Mach 4. The J&M speed is expected to be around Mach 3.5. As for the timeline, the first flight of a Tempest concept demonstrator, a prototype to test and refine new technologies, is set for 2027. According to the UK Ministry of Defence's Director of Future Combat Air, this demonstrator will give a good idea of what the final G-Scap fighter jet will be like. However, the actual operational use of the jet, developed together by Japan, Britain, and Italy, isn't expected before 2035. Building a stealth fighter takes a lot of time and money, even for big countries like the United States. In fact, the United States has paused its own sixth-generation fighter project, the Next Generation Air Dominance Program, likely due to the same reasons. This raises an interesting question. Can GCAP progress faster than the NGAD? Or will it face delays like the European Future Combat Air System project? The FCAS, a collaboration between France, Germany, and Spain, has experienced slowdowns because of disagreements over responsibilities and budgets. Given the complexity and cost of developing advanced fighter jets, GCAP might also struggle to stay on schedule. Unfortunately, not everyone agrees with this new direction of Japan's growing military power. Kyoji Yanagasawa, a former defense official, is one of the few openly critical voices. He thinks having strike capabilities won't truly scare off potential enemies. Instead, he believes Japan should focus on diplomatic efforts to avoid conflict. To really have a deterrent, we would need to be able to almost completely stop an enemy's missiles. We can't do that, Yanagasawa argues. Not only do we lack a real deterrent, but this approach could also lead to a counterattack against us. Yanagasawa worries that increasing Japan's military strength might do more harm than good. He feels that building up weapons could provoke neighboring countries and make Japan a bigger target. His stance highlights a tough choice for Japan, balancing the need to protect itself while trying not to escalate tensions in the region. Many experts believe that Japan's decision to strengthen its military is a response to a rapidly changing world. As China expands its influence and North Korea continues to develop its nuclear program, Japan fears being left vulnerable. The country also worries that its main ally, the United States, may not always be able to offer full protection, especially if faced with multiple threats worldwide. On the other hand, Japan's growing military power could signal a major change in the region. For decades, Japan has relied on the United States military for protection, maintaining a self-defense approach. However, with rising threats from its neighbors, Japan's government feels it needs a stronger stance. The decision to develop strike capabilities is part of a broader strategy to modernize its military and increase its ability to respond quickly to threats. The debate over Japan's new defense strategy shows the country's struggle to find a balance between peace and security. While most citizens support the idea of having stronger defenses, some worry about the long-term effects. If Japan increases its military strength, will it help protect the country, or lead to more tension and instability in East Asia? As Japan moves forward, it faces a critical choice: strengthen its military to prepare for potential conflicts or focus on diplomacy to maintain peace. However, if China decides to invade Taiwan, Japan has indicated it may join the United States in defending the island. This stance could make Japanese military bases potential targets for Chinese attacks. Discussions in Japan suggest that if its territory is hit, the country might launch a counterattack, aiming at enemy bases or command centers. They could even strike if they believe an attack is about to happen. But this raises legal questions. Yasuo Hasebi, a constitutional law expert at Waseda University, explains that the legality of such a move is unclear. "We only know whether an attack is preemptive or not," he says, after it is carried out. However, he believes the government might argue that simply having weapons for defense, without using them, could still fit the limits of Japan's pacifist constitution. Despite these uncertainties, the Japanese government strongly claims that this approach is constitutional. Hasebi points out that since the government insists it is legal, debating it is challenging. Interestingly, there hasn't been much pushback from Japan's civil society, media, courts, or opposition parties about how this shift in military policy aligns with the Constitution. The government hasn't provided a clear explanation of how these actions comply with the country's laws. From the perspective of the United States, Japan's increased military spending and defense development could be seen as a double-edged sword. Zach Cooper, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, notes that Japan is investing in military capabilities that the United States already provides through their alliance. He suggests that this overlap is partly because of concerns that the United States may not always be a reliable partner. The uncertainty stems from the approach of President Donald Trump, who questioned the value of long-standing alliances. Many in Tokyo, Cooper says, are unsure if the United States will maintain the same level of commitment to their alliance in the next 5, 10, or 15 years. Japan's effort to strengthen its defense is seen as a way to reduce its dependency on the United States while valuing the alliance. Japan's approach reflects a lesson from Ukraine's fight against Russia. Observers believe that the more a nation takes charge of its defense, the more it inspires allies to help. Japan may hope that by showing it is ready to defend itself, it will encourage more substantial support from its partners, especially the United States. Japan's increased defense spending, willingness to counter threats, and closer cooperation with the United States signal a significant change in its defense policy. While these actions are intended to protect Japan, they could also reshape the balance of power in the region. As tensions rise in East Asia, Japan's decisions may have a lasting impact not just on its security, but also on its role on the global stage. As regards the United States' sixth-generation aircraft, President Donald Trump is set to reveal the winner of the massive $20 billion contract for a next-gen fighter jet as soon as Friday. This big announcement could shape the future of American air power and determine whether Lockheed Martin or Boeing will lead the charge. The contract, part of the next-generation air dominance program, aims to replace the aging F-22 Raptor with a high-tech crewed fighter that will work alongside drones. The plane's design is a tightly guarded secret, but will likely feature stealth abilities, advanced sensors, and powerful engines. An official from the U.S. government hinted that Trump would make the announcement alongside Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth from the Oval Office. As the decision looms, Boeing and Lockheed stay silent, not commenting on the situation. Trump's push for this project comes even as his administration works to cut costs across the U.S. government. Just a day before, he signed an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, showing his strong stance on reducing government spending. Yet this NGAD program is a crucial step in keeping pace with rising threats from nations like China and Russia. Initially, the NGAD program had faced uncertainty due to budget issues and concerns over the high costs of other Air Force projects. Even billionaire and presidential advisor Elon Musk expressed doubts, suggesting that cheaper drones might be more effective than advanced crewed fighter jets. Despite these challenges, a finalized design for the NGAD fighter was chosen last year, and the upcoming announcement signals that the project is moving forward. For Boeing, winning this contract could bring a much-needed boost to its struggling fighter jet production in St. Louis, Missouri. If it loses, it could face further difficulties as it navigates setbacks in both its commercial and defense sectors. On the other hand, Lockheed, already a giant in the defense industry, would likely focus more on its F-35 program and the international sales of its F-16s if it misses out. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.